Hello everyone, welcome to the BISP Solutions. So our today's topic in FCCS is FCCS Impact Status function. This is the one function that we'll be seeing what is the role of this and how what is the impact of this function. So this function allows you to manually change the status of specified scenario, year, period and entity combination to impacted based on certain calculations. For example, if the system is calculating the value of net income for actual scenario for a specific entity, and you may want the system to impact the same entity for the same year and period, but in another scenario called forecast or plan or budget, any example you can take. So in that case, this function can be used. This function changes the calculation status to impacted regardless of the current status. So the FCCS impact function can be used in configurable calculation insertion rules and on demand rules. So you can use like the syntax can be @FCCS impact status, and you can write scenario, year, period, entity. You select these parameters for function. Like first is scenario, so we'll select for scenario single member, and the selection it should be a level 0 member. For year also the selection must be level 0 member. Period also same, and entity also both level 0 and parent members are supported for the entity. So, and you can use for entity a single member or the function or the list. So it supports functions such as some functions like current current member, previous sibling, next sibling, list. So for entity, the list type of member set functions, they are supported using the specific member name instead of @current member entity. For example, descendants, children inclusive, ancestors inclusive, sibling inclusive, and many others. For scenario, year, period and entity dimensions, @current member is supported to indicate the same as current member being processed. So for scenario, year, period and entity dimensions, next sibling and previous sibling functions, they are only supported when you directly combine it with the @current member function. For entity dimension, the @list function is supported where the item can be current member or for its entity or its valid combinations. So the system will impact the scenario, year, period, entity as specified in the FCCS impact status function regardless of its current calculation status, and impact all applicable parents and ancestors. All the future periods with data, they are also being impacted. If the entity has shared entities, the primary entities and all of its shared entities, they are all impacted, and their corresponding parents and ancestors, they are also getting impacted. The system does not impact entities that are locked. So first we'll go to our application and we'll check. From manage approval, whether our entity is logged or unlocked, that we'll be selecting. And as I said, if the entity has shared entities, so the primary entity and all the shared entities will get impacted, and their corresponding ancestors and parents will also get impacted. The system doesn't impact those entities which are logged. So whenever you use this function, that is FCCS impact status function, and the validator detects error and cause the consolidation process to fail during the script generation, then by default a substitution variable named disable impact status console validation is enabled, which will allow the impact status rule validator to ignore the errors which is occurring and continue with the rule execution. And if you set this variable false, the validator will display impact status error with all the details. So here we'll check for scenario, year and period. Scenario is actual, year is FY17, period is Jan. We'll go with the tree view. You can find no entity is logged here, and if you search for FY15 and go with the tree view, here also no entity is logged, so no entity is not started, any entity approval status is not started. All right, now what I have to do, you can write an on-demand rule for this and see the impact on the status. So you can see fix. What I'm writing the rule as, I'll fix some of the dimensions like currency, consolidation member and account. So I'm saying fix entity currency, the member I have used for the currency is entity currency. For consolidation I have used as entity input, and for account I have used as FCCS input, investment in subsidiary. So fix these three members, that is entity currency, entity input and investment in sub. Now the second is data source I have used as FCCS managed data, and I'm using if. This is for all managed data. If your is member, that is investment in equity company, equity pickup, if this is your member, then your impact status, at the rate we are using the function FCCSImpact Status, whatever is the current member for scenario, year is FY17, current member for period, and any previous sibling or the current member for entity. This is the rule that we have written, and we are writing it end if and with the end fix. So we have used the function as FCCSImpact Status, and any current member we have used for scenario, period, and any previous sibling you can use, or the current member for entity. So I have started with if, so I have ended with end if. I have opened the bracket over here, so I am ending the bracket over here, and started the rule writing with fix. So here we'll write end fix. So you can go with the validate and save. Validate and deploy. And then I'll launch it. So here the members that I have used, you can see for consolidation it is entity input, for currency it is entity currency, entity here I have used as so these are all the runtime prompt values that I am adding to this rule. If this is my consolidation member, that is entity input, currency is entity currency, this is my entity, period is Jan, scenario is actual, year is FY17, and click OK. So in data status you will check for this similar scenario or for similar intersection, you will find the status as impacted. And you can check on some another scenario also. Right now we have given the effect for actual, but you can find it for some budget plan, it will also be impacted. So I'll show you that. So first let it be launched. So with this is the role of the FCCSImpact Status. It will impact the other scenarios as well. That's why it is used here. The current member is this, then the remaining members will also get impact. So we'll go to the data. From here you can open your data status that I have already opened as data status customized. Okay, so we have so in data status you can find here for which intersection you are trying to see. So scenario is actual, here is FY17, currency is your entity currency, this is my month, that is your January, and you can see everything. These are all my entities and this is my top parent, that is North America. Under North America you have all these entities. So you can see for actual FY17 this is entity currency for this period, and for this entity I have entered the that I have written the rule and I have launched that rule, and you can see the impacted status with the help of that rule. Now on the similar scenarios you can find that this should also impact your similar scenario. So that is the condition we have given. So this is one rule and the calculation status result is impacted, and you can see at the top parent, that is the North America, you can find that there also the North America is getting impacted. Now if we change the scenario from actual to plan, for the similar entity the status you can see for plan for the similar year, that is FY17 and entity currency from January month, for the same entity you can find the status calculation status as impacted for plan also, although we have run the rule for actual. So this is the role of the FCCS status function. Now different scenarios you can take. So this is how you'll work. So you can do the practice and taking different scenario for, like, you can right now I changed the scenario, I have checked on the different scenario, keeping constant your year, period and entity. You can keep constant in the second case for practice scenario, year and period, and change the entity, or you can in the next you can change your period, or you can change your year, or you can change your currency as well. Like here we are seeing an entity currency, maybe you can check then some another. So likewise you can write and run the rule and check the working of this function. And you can see at the top member for plan also it is showing your North America being impacted. So this is the rule of the function. Yeah, and this will work only for those entities those entities which is not logged. Okay, so that's why we checked the approval status of that entity. And you can find out that it shows impacted till December, otherwise it would have shown as no data. We may check in the smart view as well. Like let's check in smart view, let's test it. As this is not console, all right, so we'll create a new connection. Vision Console is the application as of now. So Vision Console, current app. So maybe you can check for this entity at this intersection. So maybe you can write it 15,000 submitted. So although it shows impacted, that's why I'm trying to check whether it flows to the parent or not. My mistake, it is FY17 Jan. You can check at C100 and maybe you can check for investment in sub, and this is the movement. As we have written here, investment in sub, Okay, so we have to recompute the ownership structure. So all those steps needs to be basically first performed. Then only we'll be able to check, and we are checking for 17. So what is the start year? Every year you need to, recompute the ownership structure and copy the data. So likewise, but this is the main crux of the row function. As I shown you, that impacted status will be done if you're working on the one scenario, and your next can work, being on a single intersection, you can impact the other members as well, or the sibling. Likewise, because we have written the rule as such. We'll here recompute the ownership data. We'll copy it to next year, as these are the prerequisites that you need to perform. And I'm not, this is just an extra additional thing that I'm trying to cover. The topic is finished for today. We'll copy it to next year, that is 2017 now. Yeah, the reason why it is not showing as your, again it says to recompute, so some application issue is there. As I've already done, again it is asking for the same thing. So but what the result should be there, and what is the impact. This is the rule that you have to write. With the help of it, you will see we have seen the impacted status. That is only the function of this, that is only the role of this function, that is FCCS impact status. Okay, so that's all for today. If you have any question, you can do practice. If you have any question, you can contact BISP Solutions. For more details, you can contact BISP Solution. Thank you all for your time. That's all for today. Thank you.